Hey YouTube, this is Nashtaters. Welcome back to another episode of War of Divisions. So I just got off work, I took a shower, I shaved, I ate breakfast. Feeling pretty refreshed, but now my eyes are getting heavy, I'm getting sleepy. And I felt like, well, why don't I just make my quick video, then go to bed, and then wake up and see if we can do another video that can announce some news that I wanted to announce on this channel. And of course, when I was at work, I got a little sneak peek of the notice board, and I noticed there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up this week, and actually for the next several weeks, that really makes Thanksgiving in the United States something to be thankful for, other than your family, your loved ones, your friends, you know, your job, and all that stuff. So, without further ado, during one of my streams, people asked me when did I think Final Fantasy IV was going to be hitting global. And my first prediction was Thanksgiving time for the United States holiday. And another prediction was if it didn't come by then, we probably wouldn't be seeing it until 2021. Well, obviously, this is one time that I'm actually right, and it couldn't be make me feel better than right now. Unfortunately, given the circumstances of what's going on the JP server, it also made me realize perhaps my game plan has been changed quite a bit. But let's go ahead and just talk about some of the important news that I need to really bring forward to the player base. New titles is something that's going to be coming. I think a lot of games offer this feature. It's kind of like certain things that you can accomplish in the game, you can have something to show to other players. More of kind of like a flashy show-off type of deal. Personally, I don't mind these type of things. I think, you know, vanity sometimes it's something all human beings go through, and, you know, it is what it is. And of course, for those of you who have not checked out the YouTube video, go ahead and do so now before I ruin anything. So my suggestion is pause this video if you're watching it, and obviously go check out the official YouTube channel for more content. And for those of you who don't care about that, I'm just going to go over all the stuff that's coming to us. Final Fantasy IV is finally coming to us, obviously. But to start off that entire celebration of Final Fantasy IV, we're going to get Cecil first, and then we're going to get Chocobo Vision Card. I don't know if I really need to go do a deep dive whether you should summon or save, because guess what? Cecil is actually free. So he wasn't free in the JP server, so this is something, again, global server is deciding to do something different, right, from the Japanese counterpart. And I think this is a sign that we may be seeing a lot of changes coming to global that either wasn't implemented on JP or something that's implemented on JP, but they're going in a different direction. Okay, that's that. Now let's move forward. Cecil is absolutely free. So for those of you who are planning on actually summoning for Cecil, well, you don't have to do it anymore. All you have to do is calculate how many shards you need to get in order to get him to Limit Break 5. Now, the Chocobo card is actually one of the highest rated cards on Ultimate.jp, believe it or not. I think the reason it's so ranked high is because of the fact that it has agility up for the party ability and bestowed effect of defensive up. Here's the thing. If you already own the Final Fantasy Tactics card, the UR version, which will give you 15 agility up for your whole party, this is an easy pass because this one only gives you 10% at max ability, and party abilities as of now do not stack. Maybe that's something they'll change in the future. So the way I look at it is this: if you already own a max UR version of that Final Fantasy Tactics Beov or Beov house card, you don't really need to get this card. You don't even need to spend any more gems to really make this card max. But for those of you who don't own that card, this is definitely a card you should be working on and trying to get as many shards as possible from Whimsy Shops, the shop, and of course, summons. Because agility is one of the most important, if not the important factor in this game, because ultimately agility will help you determine how many turns you take in terms of one single combat. So definitely one of the best ability in terms of statistics you want to go after. So this is definitely a highly recommend, with the big if you do not own the Final Fantasy Tactics card. Now obviously, one of the unique thing about Cecil is that he is one of those characters that will gladly sacrifice himself to bestow lovely protective abilities on his allies. This type of playing style isn't my cup of tea. So what I'll end up doing is, if I do decide to build him all the way to Limit Break 5, I'll probably just use him as sort of a tank slash attacker and turn off all those skills that allows him to boost up his comrades. Now I know that might sound kind of weird, but I don't own a lot of powerful vision cards, so I can't really afford to really rely on heavily my two other units and kind of have a Cecil as a pure buffer. But bear in mind, you will be getting a total of 160 shards for free simply by playing the game once you get Cecil. So I think that's something to really look forward to. Of course, you also get roughly a whole month to try to get as many shards as possible from the Chocobo Expedition. And if the drop rate is anything like that of Final Fantasy Tactics Part 2 banner, then you will be easily getting this unit to level 99 if you spend some gems sparingly here and there from the Whimsy shops and when he pops up in the shop himself, and of course gathering as many of these shards from the Chocobo Expedition as possible. Just keep in mind, when the fever pops up as you're farming, use up your tickets. Use up those tickets and try to get as many of these shards as possible. Now the next thing to really talk about is the actual event. We're getting a brand new recipe. I think it's either exclusive to this event or it's just something that's coming. I think it is exclusive to the event because it is pretty much the shoulder pad that you're trying to earn. And this is right here, Holy Knight shoulder pad. So this thing is pretty nice, right? It gives you missile resistance and it's kind of like the Sortilege, where you can go the defensive route in terms of defense or the spirit route and increase spirit. And either of them is going to be good. It really depends on what you need for your team. Personally, this should be a definite farm. Try to get obviously 63 recipes so you can craft a +5, giving you a +8 on your missile resistance. So obviously if you're lacking missile resistance on a piece of armor, this is a great time to get it. Weekly campaign, this is actually pretty neat because we're going to get obviously Cecil for free, and we're going to be getting a total of 5,000 free gems alongside many cool items such as rainbows and of course skip tickets and all that good stuff. So definitely all you gotta do is log in for 10 consecutive days. You're gonna get all this stuff. Plus you're gonna get some gold and all this stuff. Now obviously if you already seen the video, you already know what we're gonna be getting as bonus gifts. If you have not, I recommend you pause it and go check it out yourself before I have to ruin it for you. So for those of you who decide to continue watching this video, I'm gonna tell you the ending anyways. We're gonna be getting 3,000 gems, 100 million gold, I think it's 10 rainbow fragments of thought, 20 rainbow spheres, and tons of extra large magicize to increase your espers. I think a lot of this is a telltale sign that we're getting ready for the EX Job 25, right? We're gonna be getting 3-star espers, so the game really wants us to max out our espers as fast as possible, so we can start working on 3 stars to kind of keep the pace going for all the players, to make sure that our progression is up to par. And I think this is a great idea. I think when the 1-year anniversary does in fact hit global, we're probably going to get more bonuses to make sure that we hit that part of the game in which most of us, if not all of us, can safely start working on some level 120 units. And that brings me to my final point. Now obviously we're going to be getting Kain and Rosa 1 week after Cecil is implemented. We're also going to be getting a raid after they're implemented to earn a bow that is UR quality in terms of recipe, and of course the Thunder Spear, in which automatically that's attached to Kain. On top of it, we're also going to be getting Demon Wall, which is basically a combination of an Esper and Vision card, which essentially the card itself is designed for Kain. So with all this said, unfortunately I have to make a decision, and that decision is whether or not to actually sub for Kain at all. Right now I'm leaning towards passing, and here's why. For dark units, I already have Super Sexy Stern, I already have Venera, and I have Gafgarion like everybody. I have Shadowlinks, I have normal Stern, and chances are normal Stern will be allowed to be taken to level 120 probably before these other units. So the trend you see here is obviously everyone is Slash, with the exception of Kain, which is Pierce. So in the future, if we're going to be getting content where we need to have multiple units of the same element to get bonus materials, such as the one that's going on the JP server, in which you will get a nice staff +3 if you use an entire team of light warriors. Well, the problem with the dark team is they're generally speaking all attackers. There's really no healers, as you can see here. So one thing is you want to make your team as strong and synergistic as possible. And I think the best way to make your dark team viable in the terms of really synergistic is to use all the slash attackers, right? You got your tank and whisper, you got your 3 attackers or maybe 4 attackers and these guys, and maybe you can use, well, let's see if little Leela can actually heal. Yes, little Leela can actually heal. So you kind of have your pseudo, well, not pseudo, but part-time healer here. So essentially you have your entire team focus on slash attacks. So if Kane is to be invited to this party, he is a lone standout piercer. And now I know he is really good. Probably considered one of the better attackers in the entire game, rivaling that of KOR Stern. And on top of it, he is not going to be a premium unit, which you have to pay double, right? Well, KOR Stern you do. Unfortunately, he is limited. So you have to ask yourself, if you're already getting Cecil for free, which all of us are, you still have to get all the shards in order to maximize Cecil. So most of us at this point probably don't have a lot of gems or Vizier saved up because, well, we just had Little Leela and Halloween Ryu. So we're probably broke. And then on top of it, the whole releasing order according to the original JP timeline is all screwed up. So it's pretty messing around with everyone's thinking ability in terms of planning. So what is the point of this entire monologue? The point is, if you decide to get Kane, you have to dedicate a lot of time, a lot of energy, and ultimately perhaps a lot of your resources to really make him really solid on your team. But why do that if you already have a solid dark team full of slash attackers? To me, it seems like unnecessary work. And to me, I don't have a whole lot of attachment to that entire game itself. I mean, I know who the characters are, but they never stood out for me. And they don't have any nostalgic factors to me other than the fact that it existed during my childhood years. So I might have to strongly contemplate completely skipping Kane, skip the spear, because I don't really have too many stabbing units. The only one I have is Victoria, and I already have the Ice Lance, which fits her perfectly. So in many ways, the way I play this game is ultimately about enjoying the game to the fullest without having to put in the most effort and or money and or resources. And the way I look at it is he just doesn't stand out for me. I don't look at this game from a perspective of PvP at all. I look at it from a perspective of actually PvE. And so most of the time when I see footages of showing off characters of how well they can do in PvP, it doesn't really excite me. But it does have some sort of tie-in to PvE, am I right? If a unit can do tons of damage in PvP, where a lot of the units people can actually stack resistances against, and you still see high damage, essentially you're going to see those units do a lot more damage in terms of PvE. So in that sense, Kane, it's sort of overkill and almost unnecessary. Because if I level up KOR Stern all the way to max, I think he's more than sufficient in both PvE and PvP. So this video isn't designed to tell you if you should save or if you should summon for Kane. It's just I'm giving you my perspective that to me, I think he's kind of pointless. So that's all the time for this video. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Remember, time is your most valuable resource. Spend it wisely. Nashtaters and family out of here. Peace.